Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Sitting across from me is Troy Brittingham.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. We took a little hiatus, as I explained on the Agatha episode with D. My grandmother died. I was very sad for a while.
Yeah.
So we took a little surprise break, but we're back.
I went on a cruise, which is a lot more fun than that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I had a lot of fun at my grandmother's funeral.
It's all right.
We watched Megalopolis, and boy, fucking howdy, I don't even know where to begin. So before I start rambling, I'm gonna play the theme song, and then I'll start rambling.
TB&J! TB&J! TB&J!
So I'm sitting there at work, and I get a text message from Troy, because we were supposed to hang out today anyway.
This was going to be an Agatha episode.
Yes, this was supposed to be the episode where I caught up with Agatha all along, episode 3, and Troy came on after watching the first 3 episodes. We got their opinion because they couldn't be on the first episode.
Yeah, and also, after what happened, I didn't really want to be on an episode with D. Yeah. I mean, that's behind the scenes stuff. We're not going to talk about it here.
The
beef we have. And
yeah,
we're trying not to be around each other.
Oh my god, you guys are so fucking stupid. There's no beef for the record.
There's beef. No, there's beef.
Sure. Anywho, so Troy was like, "Hey, they're doing the ultimate viewing experience of Megalopolis at the Cherry Hill, New Jersey movie theater."
A thing I learned about today.
A thing that they learned about today, and they texted me like, "Hey, I don't know what your work schedule looks like, but like." I really think if we're gonna do this crazy movie, we should do it this way. And also, it's crazy, and every reviewer is like super split on whether or not this is a good movie. We should definitely do this. And I was like, all right, you know what? Troy rarely asks us to cover something.
It's Francis Ford Coppola for the first time in a long time.
Francis Ford Coppola has not made a movie in quite a while, right?
Yeah, I don't know when his last one would have been.
I literally couldn't even tell you the last one I've seen that he did. Even like off the top of my head or anything, I have no fucking idea. But I did like know his name right off the bat. I was like, oh yeah, that guy.
He's Apocalypse Now. He's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah. He's had a lot of fucking stuff. I just don't remember.
Famous auteur film.
Oh, fucking! I mean, Godfather for sure.
Yeah.
But like before Megalopolis, was a bunch of movies that like I've not heard of or seen. There was Twixt. In 2011, there was Tetro in 2009, and Youth Without Youth in 2007, and that's pretty much it in our lifetimes, Troy.
Yeah.
There's like 2 other movies I think like right around the time we were born, but other than that, yep. But he's a fucking great guy for Godfather apparently.
And this is his big passion project of like. Forever years ago.
The development of Megalopolis begins in like 1977 or 78 when he has the idea, and he goes through periods of on and off development of like having the idea, working on it, writing a script.
No studio wanted to work with him because it was such an expensive movie to do.
Yeah, it was crazy expensive to even think about.
He left a lot of studios because he kept having basically when a movie costs that much, somebody eventually will come in and go, hey, our studio is banking a lot on this. Can you please do this and maybe make the movie more palatable for audiences? And he just kept saying, no.
Absolutely not.
I have my plan, and this is what the movie is going to be, and I'm not compromising on it.
I will not change my art.
Yeah.
To suit the studios.
He also, I think he eventually sold like 2 wine companies that he owned.
Something like that, yeah. He did self-fund it, I believe. After it got shelved for like the billionth time, right after 9/11, because apparently the original script had like some allegory to New York suffering a big tragedy like that. He shelved it and said, I'm not doing it unless I can fund it myself. And sure enough, here we are, apparently funded by himself.
And I think you said it was...
It is a $120 million budget. It is absolutely batshit insane, and it's got a list of a lot of fucking A-list actors.
Yes.
It is headed by Adam Driver, just the massive oak tree of a man that what's his name from Last Week Tonight?
John Oliver.
John Oliver famously has a hard-on for. Aubrey Plaza is in this movie for some
you
fucking
famously
reason.
have a hard-on for.
Yes. Also, like every man our age and slightly older. I think anyone from D's age down to our age just like fucking adores Aubrey Plaza for the weirdo, awesome, hot woman she is. Natalie Emanuel, I believe her name is. She played Missandei in the fucking Game of Thrones series.
Yep.
Big fucking star for that. And fucking, there's just so many people in this fucking movie. Giancarlo Esposito.
Shia LaBeouf's in there.
Shia LaFucking
for
Buff.
better or worse.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here watching this movie. I went into this movie completely blind.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of trailers. I've heard about it. I know that apparently there's a lot of behind-the-scene production stuff that happened with this movie.
Oh, is there? Like stupid drama stuff like Don't Worry, Darling?
It's not on the same level of that, but it's a lot of like apparently Francis Ford Coppola was just very weird on set.
No!
And apparently he would just like disappear in the middle of filming this thing, like directing it. And like they'd be like, okay, we're going to direct this scene now. And then he would just kind of not be around. And then they'd find him smoking weed in his trailer, apparently.
Wait,
like, and
shut up.
Apparently there was
Name your source, sir.
I don't have an exact source for it, but I this is just stuff I heard. I don't remember the exact sources. Apparently at one point, somebody came around with a set designer. A set designer came around and asked him his input for a certain scene, and he basically responded with, "How am I supposed to tell you what Megalopolis looks like if I don't know what Megalopolis looks like?" And
that sounds like a line made up for a Family Guy skit.
It does.
There's no way that's real. Really?
That's what I've heard, and apparently he was very old man touchy with a lot of the women on set is all the things that I've heard.
I mean, not in fairness, there's no excuse for that. This is a really like horny fucking movie.
It is a very horny movie.
Super horny movie.
Yeah.
And I know, so I went into this movie completely blind. I had no idea what it was. And then I find out that it's supposed to be a modern retelling of the what's it called? The Catalina conspiracy in ancient Rome back in like fucking 63 BC. And
wow, that's weird. You picked up on all that. How do you figure out those metaphors?
Well, all the names are literally lifted from the Catalina conspiracy. Caesar Catalina being the main character's fucking name, Adam Driver's character. But fucking, and then Cicero and all the fucking names lifted straight from this thing. But here's the thing, right? The reason certain movies are good when you do a modern retelling is because they are stories people know. Like Romeo and Juliet.
Sure.
And West Side Story.
Yeah.
This Catalina conspiracy, I'm pretty big history buff on ancient Rome and shit like that. I didn't fucking know this off the top of my head. I didn't know it until like 3/4 of the way through the movie. I was like, you're referencing something. I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure. And then I finally got there by the end of it, and I was like, okay, cool. If I finally got here as a nerd, I can't imagine any random moviegoer who's like, oh, I liked The Godfather when he did that 40 years ago. No. 50 years ago? No. 60? 70s,
no,
right?
it sounded more like, 70s is 50, you're right.
Something years ago now, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're getting old. But yeah, any like random moviegoer probably doesn't know the Catalina conspiracy off the top of their head. And the plot is so hard to follow.
So, do you have a thumbs up, thumbs down that we want to do?
God damn, I did this to D too with Agatha all along. I forget my own shtick. Thumbs down, man. Fuck this movie.
Yeah, stinky, icky, bad. I don't like it. Ew, garbage.
I went into this movie blind, expecting to see something that would make me think a little bit.
Yeah.
Instead, what I got was a retelling of an ancient Roman conspiracy theory. Not conspiracy theory. It was a real thing that happened. But I got I got a retelling of an ancient Rome story. And on top of that, I got very heavy-handed hit over the face with the USA is crumbling and dying.
Yeah.
which is a really bleak outlook. I don't firmly believe that in the world. I'd like to be a little hopeful.
I also famously have the take of I hate Rome nerds. Rome nerds, liking Rome and knowing about Rome, a totally different thing. There is a type of guy who's a Rome nerd who specifically is just like, oh, have you ever thought about how the U.S. is sort of like the Roman Empire? And I'm just like, shut up, I don't want to talk to you,
You and every other edgy 14-year-old on TikTok.
No longer want to have a conversation with you. Can't do it.
No, fuck that guy, man.
And it does feel like this movie is mostly that. Almost 99% that.
Yeah, right? Like, this movie feels like... I mean, Francis Ford Coppola is not 24 years old.
No.
But it feels like a 24-year-old college student smoking a lot of weed wrote this movie.
It does a little bit.
And then a lot of big-name actors got given a check to come here and make this movie happen.
Yeah. And again, I'm happy for him that he's able to make his, like... How long do you say in the making?
77 to now.
Yeah. So a little under 50 years in the making.
43, 42?
Yeah. I'm happy for him for making it. I am a big fan of, one of the reasons I love Shyamalan is I love sort of like when a guy goes, this is the movie I want to make. I don't really care how people think about it too much, but I'm going to make it. And this is how I want to make it. And then they put it out. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I wouldn't call it slop. It's not like nothing.
It's not nothing. There's a lot of effort and love that went into making this movie.
And I appreciate all of that. Don't like one fucking scene of this movie. I would call this movie boring, bad, and annoying.
This movie really was boring. I do my best to like take my meds before I go see a movie so that I can actually focus on it and not be on my phone. And I was still on my phone, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I'm not the guy in the movie theater who's like constantly on his fucking phone. No, but like there got to a point in the movie where like I knew my wife had texted me because I felt my phone go off, and I was like, oh, I'll get to it later. But then it got to a point in the movie like halfway through where I was like, I don't fucking care what's going on. I'm just gonna answer my wife real quick. Like there's a whole bit in like the middle-ish, I think, where Adam Driver's character Caesar Catalina is like going through some drug-fueled bender, just like letting himself get beat up and shit on and stuff. It's so bizarre. And at that point in the movie, they've already shown you certain things like his ability to control time and his ability to like see things that aren't necessarily there. And it's like, well, is this actually happening? Is this all in his head? What's going on? And they don't answer that, Troy. Mm-hmm. They don't fucking tell me what's going on.
And again, I like the idea of there being a movie where it's like, we're kind of just operating off of vibes a little bit. It's explained a lot through like poetry and metaphor and stuff like that. And I'm like, none of that, don't mind any of that.
No.
I just wish it was stuff I liked.
Exactly. I don't want to feel like I'm coming off like the ignoramus who's like, oh, this was boring and there was no action in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't
get it. No, there was plenty of action, really, like between the Shia LaBeouf's character, Claudio, trying to like basically start a rebellion against Caesar and try to take him down using the public. It was a really bizarre method of thinking, and I feel like the only reason that happened was to draw an allegory to Trump.
Yeah, there's a lot of allegories, and they're all like I expected to kind of. I think I'm more upset that it's not like it's not a movie where I'm like I didn't get it. It's more of like I'm almost a little bit more upset that I thought there would be more that I didn't get. Like,
I was expecting it to be more subtle.
Yeah.
Instead of people wearing red hats holding a sign that say "Make Rome Great Again."
Yeah, everybody is everybody's named after a real Roman person. Everybody's all the women are all wearing big Roman sandals.
So the city so for some background for the setting and the plot, the city is New Rome.
Yes. Designed
after a fictional version of New York City, and it suffers a tragedy, and Caesar's character or Adam Driver's character Caesar, who's in charge of this like city planning
the
committee.
monkey does the Planet of the Apes.
He's in charge of developing the city, and he has these grand plans to build a utopia after some tragedy befell it, and there's like this big empty spot now, and the mayor has other plans. The mayor wants to build a casino.
The nuclear satellite fell out of the sky.
Is that what caused the destruction?
Yeah, towards the middle-ish.
You see, that's how little I fucking remembered that. Like, that was a plot point for maybe a second. They mentioned it twice.
Yep.
That's it.
It also... This is a movie where a man has the power to stop time.
Also, the man has the power to fucking stop time, and it's not harped on. But nobody seems to notice it except him, and then fucking Julia, the mayor's daughter, who ends up being like, "That's interesting. I'm gonna go chase that man and fall in love with him." What?
But what I was gonna point out is this movie feels like a fucking movie where they could fucking stop time. This movie's like 2 minutes 10 or something like that.
2 hours 8.
Yeah, okay.
You said 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes, yeah.
You said minutes. I knew what you meant, but I'm just for the sake of the record.
Yeah.
2 hours 8 minute runtime.
Yeah. It feels like
Does that count the cameo we got in real life?
Okay, so that's the other thing.
The reason Troy dragged me out. So I work a 9 to 5 job. I'm usually out by 5:30. Sometimes I stay late till 6 because I have a fucking job to do. I've got work to do, right? Troy texts me and they're like, "Hey, we can go see this thing at 5:30 if you get out of work on time today." So cool. I busted my ass to make sure everything got done super early so I could walk out the door at 5 to make this fucking showing of the ultimate experience.
Yep.
You know what it was, audience? I'll fucking spoil it for you. After the tragedy happens with the satellite falling down, fucking Caesar Catalina gets interviewed by the news about why we should be hopeful and what matters. The reporter asking the question was a real guy in our movie theater with a microphone, looking at Adam Driver on the screen, who sat there quietly for a minute and then replied. That was it. That was the only thing that differed.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's why we had to make this showing. So that a random guy could ask a question on a microphone to a movie.
It was sort of advertised as a audience participation moment. And it is sort of a guy who seems to work for either the movie or the movie theater or whatever, asking a pre-written question that Adam Driver already answered.
Which begs the question in my head of, if I didn't see the ultimate viewing experience, would I get Adam Driver sitting there silently for a minute while nothing happens around him, and then he answers a question no one asked?
I believe, and I could be wrong about this, I think that there might be different questions and different responses depending on the theater you see it in.
That makes sense for a movie as pretentious as this one.
Yeah, so that's a good word to use for this. And again, I like the idea of going, what can we do that's different that movies don't do? It's just, you turned to me at the end of it and went, that was it?
Yeah.
In theater.
That was it.
I thought you were going to fucking lunge at me.
No. We were surrounded by witnesses. And the best part was when I left the theater and I went to the bathroom, there was a man about my age talking to what I assume was his father, because it was an elderly man who resembled him a little. And the guy our age telling his dad, "I'm sorry, I didn't know what it would mean. I didn't know what that was. I thought it would be something different." And that's all I heard was just that sentence. And I swear, there's no way he wasn't talking about the movie we just left. There's no way.
Yeah.
You know the best thing I can say about this movie, Troy?
Go for it.
The credits were short.
The credits are very short.
That's the best thing I can say about it. There were so many parts of this movie that the CGI looked deliberately bad.
Yeah.
It didn't look like they tried really hard and it was bad. It looked like they were like, no, we want this to look bad, so it's bad. There's a scene where Julia is learning about how Caesar's brain works. She wants to learn how he works. She's a very future-centric person, just like Caesar. Caesar's whole ideology in this movie is the future. The present doesn't matter. We need to prepare for the future. Over and over, that's his whole bit. That's why he wants to build this utopian city that isn't about satiating needs. It is about asking questions and propelling us into the future. Fine. Cool. She identifies with that. She wants to learn that. They're together. He takes her up in this, like, I don't know the proper name for it, but it's one of those, like, carts on the side of skyscrapers that window washers use.
Yeah.
And as they're going up, it literally looks like a drawn window, like, piece of paper behind them just moving back and forth really quick.
I literally looked up halfway through during the movie if they used AI for any of the effects.
That's the other thing. You were on your phone during this movie. At least once.
I am never on my phone.
You are never on your phone. When we are at the movies, your phone doesn't exist.
I silence my phone. I take off vibrate even.
Yeah.
And then I look at my phone and realize people blew it up later.
Yeah. You're not what's the word? A maniac like me who has a fucking Galaxy Watch connected to my phone, so I always know when people need to contact me. But also, I can't remember the last time I ever took my phone off vibrate. My phone always lives on vibrate because if I get a call or a text, it's on my wrist. I don't need to look at my phone. I don't need to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. I don't even know it doesn't matter. Anyway, this fucking movie, if it was a little more subtle in its metaphors and with the message it was trying to tell us, I maybe would have more good things to say. But for right now, I think
it needs to be a lot more subtle for that. I feel like 2 degrees less subtle is still over the head.
It's still over the head, but it's still like I would have more good things to say about it. I knew this was going to be one of those movies immediately because the opening shot of the movie is a little poem, I guess might be the word, a little piece of text, a passage, as it were,
sure,
about how Rome fell, and is that going to happen to the great United States? Whatever. It's like 3 lines.
Read by Lawrence Fishburne.
It's read by Lawrence Fishburne, which is awesome. It's also on screen.
Yeah.
You could read it. You could see it. It's right there. And my first thought when I saw the words was like, all right, let me read this real quick. Unless this is going to be one of those movies where they read it to me. But that's not going to happen, right? And then I immediately heard Lawrence Fishburne as I had that thought. And I was like, oh no, I don't have good hopes now. I don't have high hopes.
Lawrence Fishburne, who is the narrator of this, and not really a character in this. He is in it.
He's in it. He doesn't do much.
He's Caesar's driver.
Caesar's driver / butler.
Yeah.
He is kind of like his assistant person, and he is openly narrating what's going on as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit where Caesar goes into this old house in like the slummy part of town, and he lays down on this bed, and he's taking care of like his wife who died under mysterious circumstances a couple years prior. But Julia's watching, and she sees nothing. He's just sitting on a bed, but he sees his wife and all of these nurses doting on her and this and that. And the driver, whose name is 40, I believe, he's openly narrating what's going on in the car. Like they show a shot of him sitting in the car, looking onto the house, and he's talking. Mm-hmm. He's talking about what's happening in the narration. And another thing is, because it's not super apparent here, but there are other scenes where it is extremely apparent, this movie is littered with ADR. So much of this movie, especially where 2 characters are talking very intimately, their lips are not even close to matching what they're actually saying and what we're hearing. I don't understand why that disconnect happened and why you didn't just reshoot that scene a little bit better. Like, there's several scenes where one character pulls another one in close to have a conversation, and the lips don't match at all what we're hearing. Not even a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it pulled me out immediately. I was like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That is some amateur hour shit right there, man. Come on. That is also once. Okay, fine. Scheduling didn't allow you to reshoot that scene. 3-4 times that I counted, and probably a couple others that I didn't because I wasn't looking very closely. That's ridiculous, especially from a seasoned director. Like, come on now.
Maybe the most seasoned director.
I don't know about that. He's not Spielberg. seasoned, implying like mileage in the profession.
Yeah, I mean,
he's certainly a very decorated director.
I think he's been doing stuff before Spielberg, though, right?
No, for sure he's been making movies since before Spielberg. But like
Spielberg just fucking nails him out, though.
Yeah,
Spielberg has like hundreds of movies.
Spielberg's done like 9 years straight in Vietnam. Coppola keeps like popping in and out of Nam for like 6 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the comparison I was trying to make, and I could be completely wrong. I could be super duper wrong.
They're also different guys. Spielberg makes like E.T., Jaws.
Yeah. He doesn't make thinkers. He just makes fun movies.
Yeah.
Like Jaws wasn't supposed to like teach me anything other than
don't go in the water. The mayor is saying open the beaches and that's bad. Don't do it.
Yeah. And then after that movie, Spielberg was like, "Wait, no, sharks are good. Why do people hate sharks?
Hey, don't kill all the sharks, please."
Yeah, why are people so afraid of sharks? They're really nice creatures. Is it because I made that movie that one time? Oh my goodness gracious!
And then we got 3 amazing sequels.
Wait, really?
There are 3 Jaws sequels.
I thought there were 2.
There are 4 Jaws movies.
There's a Jaws 4?
There is a Jaws 4. It's called The Revenge, and it has Michael Caine in it.
I thought that was the 3rd one.
No. Jaws 4 also includes a psychic grandmother.
What?
You should watch Jaws 4.
Yeah,
we're not talking about Jaws 4.
That sounds like a better movie than Megalopolis. Troy, what did you know about this movie before you dragged me to go see it with you?
I mostly knew about the set problems that I told you about.
Sure.
I had seen the trailers, and I knew that it had gone to a lot of film festivals where a lot of the best reviews were, it's interesting. And that's the best people have kind of said about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a contingency of people who are fans of this.
I mean,
like it exists.
Sure.
But like I feel like the general response across like criticky people, that like have gone to film festivals and stuff like that, it seems like a lot of people where we're at didn't like it, nonsense, trash. 2, it's kind of interesting. He made a vision kind of thing. It's different. Like that's sort of the upper echelon of people's opinions.
Sure. I will say I have never seen a movie so squarely in the middle before. This movie, I'm looking at 4 different scores right now across 4 different.
I know
measures.
the Rotten Tomatoes.
So on Google reviews, this is sitting at a 2.5.
Okay.
Exactly half of 5, which is the maximum
out of 5.
score.
Gotcha.
Yep. IMDb has this at a 5.5 out of 10.
Gotcha. Almost in the middle.
Metacritic has this at a 57%.
Mm-hmm.
And our Rotten Tomatoes has this at an exactly 50%.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the one I know.
And the popcorn meter, which is like the people's reviews versus the tomato
Can I guess
meter.
it?
Sure.
And it's lower, I imagine.
Maybe.
I'm going to say 26.
47.
47? Okay.
Everything is like squarely in the
Wow.
middle percentile.
Wow.
I've never seen this before on any film. Every film that's always been like split, it's always like the critics love it and the people hate it, or the people hate it and the critics love, or the other way around, the people love it, the critics hate it. Like I've never ever seen a movie so evenly split across 4 different websites, and of those websites, one of them splits them between professional critics and the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is like right in the middle. That is insane to me. I wonder if there's ever been like something like that before. I really, really don't know. But my favorite review here in one sentence is from a tomato guy who gave it a C+.
Now, is he on the website or is he a man that is a tomato?
Yes.
Okay.
His name is Adam Graham from Detroit. Megalopolis is an experience more than it's a movie, and as an experience, it's unforgettable. I'll admit, I probably won't forget what I saw.
I agree with that 100%.
Not in a good way.
I don't like it. But
yeah, absolutely not. And what Adam said is completely true. It's an experience, and it's unforgettable. But it's not a good, cohesive movie at all. I mean, the plot is there, but I feel like I never knew people's like true motivations. I feel like even though we spent the most time with Caesar, I knew next to nothing about him by the time the movie ended. Like, honestly, nothing about how his brain works at all. I knew nothing about him as a person. And same with Julia. Julia seems to flop sides almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
She shows up at Caesar's initially as like, oh, my dad's the mayor. We should broker a peace.
Yeah, she's
supposed
to be very conflicted because of the two different sides.
Yeah, but it's not so much conflicted so much as she's just hot one minute and then cold the next. Because when she's downstairs in Caesar's office, she's like, I want to talk to Caesar. I want to talk to him about the future. It's like, okay, cool. That's artsy. That's out there. He might respect that. And then the message that came upstairs was like, oh, some sixth grader you talk to wants to talk to you. And he's like, okay, cool. I talk to kids all the time. And I'm like, that's not at all what she said. Where did that come from? What the fuck are you talking about? And then she gets there and she's like, yeah, my dad's the mayor. And I just want peace between the two of you guys. And I only went to med school for a year, and then I dropped out and sold my equipment for drug money. But let's go talk about the future. And then she, like, steals his bottle of pills that's, like, in his apartment or his office, whatever. Okay, cool. The next time we see her, she's, like, trying to pick his brain and study him and follow him and love him. And I'm like, when did this happen? There was no middle ground between A and B. It just went straight there.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre, right?
Yeah. No. Did
I like fall asleep for 20 minutes and miss something?
I think you did, but also I still think that it wouldn't have changed anything. But I
missed another fever dream sequence.
Yeah, pretty much. Absolutely. But I think that where was I going with this? Oh,
I was gonna say I don't know.
Why don't you know? I feel like we always sort of hit this thing every time we do any movie, really, and I feel like it's kind of like a meme online of reviewing anything where people talk about how it's like, I don't think anybody in this movie did a bad job. I don't think it's the actor's fault or whatever. I think there's some people who did some bad jobs. There
are some people who did bad
jobs. I'm an Adam Driver fan. Don't think he did very well in this.
No. This was bad.
Shia, don't like him. And he's bad.
Yeah, Shia, I did not like his performance of Claudio. I don't know how that character is supposed to read, but I disliked all of it.
Yeah. Think Aubrey Plaza did well.
Aubrey.
What did I say?
You said Audrey.
Oh, sorry.
Put some fucking respect on
I'm sorry. I was trying to put somebody else in this movie who I didn't like.
Somebody didn't watch fucking Parks and Rec.
I was trying to take somebody who I didn't like and put it in the movie. But Aubrey Plaza did a good job with a character that I think sucks.
See, and that's the best part about this. I'm so glad Aubrey Plaza is actually a good actor.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I love Aubrey Plaza, all right? I think she's smoking hot, she's super weird, and she's pretty goth, and all of that checks every box for my fantasy dreams. Fine, great, awesome. But it feels like she's a little bit like Dwayne The Rock Johnson or a fucking Giancarlo Esposito
Jacked.
almost. No. But like, whenever she's in a movie, she plays the same character.
Sure.
Where, like, even in Agatha All Along, she plays, like, this really weird, moody goth girl.
Mm-hmm.
She just also happens to be really mysterious and probably death. But in this movie, she doesn't play anything remotely close to that. She has fake blonde hair. She's, like, overly trying to, like, sleep her way to the top and just marry for money and try to, like, get Caesar's heart. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is very different from what she normally does, and she's actually doing it. Cool. I was so scared that she was a bad actor and only had, like, one role that she could play and just did it very well for, like, 20 years. But no, she can actually do other things. Okay, cool, awesome. I was happy to see that.
Also, her character's name is Wow Platinum.
Yep.
W-O-W.
I mean, they do have a line, and it might be a joke, it might be a throwaway thing from her, where it's like, where'd you get that name? And she's like, I picked it up on my way to an audition, straight from the train station or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like very clear that she comes from nothing, or a very different background from the rest of them, and got her way up here just because she's very hot.
Yeah.
And she managed to, marry the old banker man, Cletus or something? Cloud something. Right?
It's another Roman name.
No.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's on me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My favorite Roman historical figure, Cletus.
Oh, that Cletus. Cletus. Crass something.
Crassus,
I
believe. And if it's wrong, then sue
No,
me.
it's right. Crassus. Yeah. Crassus. Okay, cool.
Who is kind of also a Trump character?
No.
No?
Not even close. They made just like a vague caricature of him in the fact that he was just a rich guy, just doing rich old white guy stuff. But he has that big redemption where he like pretends to have a stroke so that people will just like pretend that he doesn't matter and reveal their true selves around him. And then he uses that to his advantage and ends up killing WoW Platinum.
In a fucking goofy looking scene.
A really goofy scene that looked bad.
Yeah.
First of all,
I think was supposed to be funny.
The reveal of like he's like, how about this boner? And I'm like, what? They've made no like reference like thus far. It's not really been that kind of a movie. It's been overtly sexual for sure, but like no one's just outright said like college humor level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that as in college level humor, not college humor. Currently known as Dropout, the very well respectable comedy platform. Go subscribe to dropout.tv. It's only $5 a month. What are you doing? The other thing I really enjoyed about this movie, honestly, and I don't know that you'll care about it, was Vesta Sweetwater, the virgin in big quotes wearing the invisible dress.
Mm.
Do you know who she is?
I do not.
So the actress who played her is Grace VanderWaal. That name probably means nothing to you, Troy.
Nope.
But as someone who previously dated someone who was obsessed with reality talent shows,
okay,
I was forced to watch a lot of America's Got Talent.
Interesting.
In my high school years to give you a frame of reference of who this was and when this was.
Sure.
In 2011, one of the semifinalists of America's Got Talent was Grace VanderWaal. She sings and plays ukulele, and she has this like very distinct singing voice where I don't know how to say it politely, but she like fakes a like Northern European accent.
Okay.
While playing the ukulele.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So she sounds like of Monsters and Men, but like she's from Kansas.
Sure.
She shouldn't sound like that. But that's the way that she sings, and that's just how she is. Fine. I remember her being very good, and my girlfriend at the time like bought an album or something. I don't remember, but we had that music going in her dorm room at the time, and I was like, oh, this girl's pretty talented. I'm sure she's going to go far and do great at a fucking 12 years old or whatever, and the world's going to treat her fine. Right now, she is 20, and that's her. All grown up, and that was her actually singing in the movie, and you know what? Awesome. Good for you, kid. I'm so glad you grew up and you have a career and you didn't fizzle out into a drug problem.
You're in a movie with Giancarlo Esposito, Adam Driver, and Lawrence Fishburne.
I was going to say, at the very least, like, you've got Adam Driver's email now.
Yep.
You could definitely, like, reach out and say, hey, what's up, man? Take a look at this script.
Movie?
Also, she's fucking 20 years old, man.
Mm-hmm.
Troy, we're nearing 30, bud.
Yeah, and look at us. We have a podcast.
And Dee's almost 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
Geriatric over there.
You know what? I should make up with him. That beef, I mean, he's not going to...
He doesn't have much time left.
...be around forever.
Yeah, I mean, the illness is creeping in.
Yeah.
This is all jokes, by the way.
But I mean, well, the beef isn't. The beef is real.
Where's the beef? She died, man. Years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not news.
Also,
fucking...
whatchamacallit?
Yeah, Maggie Smith died today.
Yeah, Professor McGonagall.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking
and other
sucks.
Things.
She was in Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
I don't remember her character's name, but I remember seeing her in Downton Abbey because my girlfriend at the time, same woman from the other story, loved Downton Abbey and would put that on all the time. But yeah, fucking Maggie Smith passed away today. She was 89. Woof. Mm-hmm. It's a long life. Good for you, Maggie. What else, Troy? Do you have anything else you want to say about Megalopolis?
I probably
A
do.
Fable? Sorry, make sure you use the proper title.
That's true.
It's Megalopolis, a Fable.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the only thing I want to say is this is not really like a funny bad movie.
No, it's not.
It's kind of just boring and long.
This movie feels to me what I when I was like a kid, V for Vendetta felt like, where it's like the movie takes itself super seriously. It has a message that it wants to convey, but it's so fucking pretentious and over the head with it that you're sick of it so soon, so quick into it. And I don't want to compare it directly to V for Vendetta because I actually kind of like that movie.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
got cool shit in it.
It does have cool shit in it. It's also based on a very small terroristic act that happened in Britain a bunch of years ago. And it also funny story. John Fitzwater, friend of the podcast, is hosting his annual Halloween party on November 5th, and it is also because that is Guy Fawkes Day. Remember the 5th of November. This movie is so full of itself that the audience really doesn't have any room for interpretation. The audience has no freedom to do anything, really. You sit there and you watch my movie and you understand it because you will understand it because you have no choice.
It is like a weird combination of like, hey, we're afraid that you're not smart enough to get this, so let's explain this to you.
Yeah.
But also, if you don't like it, oh, would you not get it? Like it's like both at the same time.
Oh, I have a better example. This feels like when oh fuck, what the hell's the name of the movie? Leonardo DiCaprio,
The Departed,
Ellen Page, Elliot Page.
Elliot Page, yeah, that's true.
Inception. This feels like when Inception came out, and I thought it was stupid and overcomplicated, and everyone around me was like, "No, you just don't get it."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "No, I get it. I think it's stupid." But this feels like this is stupid. You're beating me over the head with a metaphor and using an ancient Rome myth to do it with. And I don't like what's happening here. I really don't like what's happening here. There are so many scenes that are only done for the artistic value of the scene, and they do nothing to advance the plot. They do nothing to explain the world around you, especially because they tell you that fucking Caesar is seeing things that no one else is, and we don't know for sure whether they're real or not. And then they show us more of these things. And then it's like, well, is this real? Should I bother actually looking at what's happening? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I still don't know. Sitting here hours after the fact. I drove all the way home. And I stopped at a Wawa.
And here's the thing. Sometimes those movies exist, and sometimes you go, wow, it's fun to think about which ones are real and which ones not. This was not one of those situations.
Exactly. Fucking Inception, when the top is like in the safe and he closes the door. Is it spinning? Is it not spinning? That was something fun to think about. This is not fun to think about.
Yeah.
This is not even remotely fun to think about. Yeah. And it ends with Julia freezing time, which I guess the power is Caesar's, but he can like share it depending on who he's involved with romantically. I don't fucking know. They don't.
Or she somehow unlocked the power through love or something because
the
they
power
talk about
of
that.
Love.
They do talk about that being kind of a thing that he does.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like part of the whole thing with his relationship with Julia was he had to let go of his wife in order to fully love Julia. But, like, it doesn't... I don't know, man. It's so fucking bizarre.
I also asked you at the end of the movie if this is how you think... If Caesar specifically is how you think Elon Musk thinks about himself.
Yes.
It just seems like a guy where I'm just like... I just don't fucking like this guy. And he thinks that he's so fucking smart and will save humanity. And sucks.
I fucking hate him, dude. I used to be on the Elon train back in high school. We had to do a fake project. Not a fake. It was a real project where we had to make a fake business plan in one of my business courses I took senior year. And I did it on electric cars. And I used Elon's Tesla model as like the basis for what I was doing.
That's before he started tweeting and called that guy a pedophile.
Yeah, it's also before like it was public knowledge that he didn't actually found Tesla.
Yeah.
He bought his way onto the board of directors.
Well, yeah, he had a period of time where he was, people were saying he was real life Iron Man. He was in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, he was.
That was the period of time where he was at his highest, and then he decided to start talking. And then people went, oh, actually, we don't like this guy. He sucks.
It reminds me of a thing my dad used to say when I was a kid. He said, it's true. Light is faster than sound. That's why most people appear bright until they open their mouths.
Mm.
And I was like, that's funny. And I laughed when I was like 6, and I didn't get it. And then I did get it, and I was like, wait, did my dad just call me stupid? Dad, I know you listen occasionally. I fucking love you. Thank you for raising me the way you did, because now I have this very strange sense of humor that no one really understands or accepts except for my wife, whose dad was like a million when she was born. So, yeah, I have that going for me at least. I have one human being I can relate to.
And I still don't respect you, understand you, or relate to you.
That's totally fine. I don't need you to.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Troy, do you have anything positive to say about this movie?
Like I said, and it sounds like a cop-out, but I genuinely am a fan of the fact that this is very clearly a artistic vision that one person made.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that. Thank me for bringing us back around to that. I wanted to tell you, there's a theory that I want to say it's Brad Bird's, but I could be misattributing it to him.
Mm.
I definitely heard it in an interview with some like really big animation guy. But he said the reason he got into animation and why he loves it so much is because animation is the truest form of my idea coming to life.
Yeah.
Because the characters are exactly as I envisioned them because I fucking drew them. And they sound exactly like I envisioned them because I made up their voices. And I really, really appreciated that like perspective on art, and it made me like it kind of this happened like years ago. I was like 14, 15. It kind of like opened my eyes to the world of Hollywood, of like someone has an idea and then they have to immediately start compromising it and cutting back because you have to get other people to agree with your idea to move forward and make it into a final product. So unless you're surrounded by yes men, like some certain privileged directors and producers are, you will have to compromise on your art and your original idea in order to get what you want made. And then that's also when I found out about what the Star Wars Special Editions and why they exist. And why sometimes people telling you no is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get a jizz scene in Star Wars Episode 6 with Max Rebo.
That's what it's
in the
called.
Band. But there's so many...
And then you'll find somebody online who will talk about how Hollywood doesn't have any new ideas. And you go, no, there are new ideas. They're out there. It's just some fucking... a kid who Warner Brothers doesn't want to talk to.
Yeah. Honestly, people love to say that things were better back in the day and we had better ideas back in the day. That's not true. You have survivorship bias because you only remember the stuff that hit. You don't remember all the fucking flops. Like everyone's like, oh, rock and roll was so much better back in the 70s and 80s. No, it wasn't. It was full of garbage acts that didn't know how to play. It was full of bands that had 3 good songs out of 8 albums. Like, you are vastly oversimplifying things.
I'm having this moment this is a very weird tangent. I'm having kind of this moment.
We're at like 48, 49 minutes of the podcast. This is weird tangent time.
I'm having sort of that moment with Caitlin, who's been on this podcast a few times.
Friend of the pod, Caitlin.
And
Caitlin, I'm going to try to get her to go see Joker Folie à Deux with us next week. I should text her after this.
Now that's interesting because you took us. We all went to see the first Joker.
Yep.
And famously, you love Joker.
I don't love Joker. I liked it.
Okay, so you
on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 6.
Sure.
5.
You definitely liked a lot more at the time, I feel like.
I did, but I was looking at it through different colored glasses back then because behind the scenes of Joker, we went and saw Joker when I was like at the height of my like super depression.
Sure.
Where I was like actually having suicidal thoughts and ideations. And then Joker comes around and he has those scenes with his psychiatrist, and they're like actual real deep hitting shit and conversations I was having with my therapist every week. But I'm fine now, guys. Everything's great. For real. Everything's fine now. But it wasn't back then. And I viewed Joker as like wow, this is a real movie, and this movie touches me. And the journal scene actually made me uncomfortable sitting in my seat, because I also had to do journal shit and whatever. But now I'm looking back at it, and I'm just like,
How much of it is Joker fans?
Right. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And then and then you have fucking the idiot. Who's the guy who made the movie?
Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips saying that, like, if his Joker ever met Batman, he's like, oh, he would just be in awe of the alpha male that is Batman. He would have no choice but to respect him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think you understand Joker as a character, my guy. I think if there's one person who shouldn't be making Joker movies, it's you.
Yeah, Todd Phillips isn't my favorite guy. I am famously a
Matt Reeves, great Batman guy though.
Mm-hmm. I am famously a Joker movie hater.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so was Caitlin. So I was just interested that you chose both of us to go see the second one
because we all saw it together the first time.
That's fair, and we're friends.
Yeah. Also, you're my friends, and I haven't seen you. Shut the fuck up and go see a movie with me, asshole. Jesus.
But I was gonna say that with Caitlin and our friend Nicole, we've been having sort of this moment of maybe like the early 2000s weren't only great shows and where it was like Courage the Cowardly Dog and Dexter's Lab and like
of course
good
not.
shit.
Especially when you go back and look at the episode count for some of those shows, it's like 30.
Yeah. Yeah,
some of those really good shows you remember as a kid only had like 30 episodes.
I thought there was
that just got syndicated.
I thought there was a whole lot more Teen Titans.
Me too, man. I thought Teen Titans was massive, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, there's like 4 seasons.
I just watched Justice League Unlimited recently. That's also short.
Also, yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Batman the Animated Series, man. Bruce Timm, this is the best show ever. There's 1 million episodes. When I moved into my first apartment, as a treat, I bought the whole series on Blu-ray. It is 2 discs.
But we've been watching...
It is not a lot.
But we've been watching Galador recently. Do you know what Galador is?
Keep talking.
Galador is a tie-in show to a Lego product that almost bankrupted Lego.
Almost bankrupted Lego?
It almost bankrupted Lego in the 2000s.
The number one producer of tires in the world almost went bankrupt? That's real. That's a real thing.
I know that one. I think you told me that before.
Yeah.
But this is like
because every little tire counts.
This is like a space adventure show that I think was supposed to compete with Bionicle at the time.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's fucking nonsense, man. And we've been watching every episode of it. There's like 2 seasons that are like 10 episodes each. So it's like 20-something episodes.
Right.
And the editing for this is fucking insane. If you have time and you're listening to this, just look up Galador on YouTube.
Of course they have time. They listen to a podcast.
It's all free on YouTube, and I just need somebody else to understand what this was. It's not. It's just fucking nonsense, but we love it, and we watch it every time. We're just hanging out together now.
Everyone's got that show that's like objectively bad that they secretly love.
It's so bad. It's incredibly bad.
Yeah.
The editing is bonkers.
Oh, God, I'm trying to think of the name of the show that I loved that was, like, objectively terrible as a kid. Oh, man.
You're thinking of Samurai Jack.
The fuck you.
I love Samurai Jack. I'm kidding.
Piece of shit. Take you out back and beat you. It'll come to me at a very inappropriate time.
Kids Next Door.
That was also a good show.
I know.
Shut up,
I'm just
Troy.
trying to say the best shit I
Shut
can
up,
think of.
Troy. Oh, Duck Dodgers. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I could see it in my head. I just couldn't name it. Fuck, it was like the space weird one with the Looney Tunes.
I'm also pro Duck Dodgers, though.
Yeah, all right. I fucking loved Duck Dodgers, and I grew up and I tried to find it, and everyone was like, "Why do you want Duck Dodgers?" That show was fucking terrible.
Green Lantern's in it.
Wait,
that's
really?
real. There's a Green Lantern episode.
I mean, it is Warner Brothers, like, of course.
And they're
why
in
not?
space. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man, I fucking loved Duck Dodgers as a kid. That being said,
the soundtrack for Duck Dodgers is insane.
Oh yeah,
it's whatchamacallit, Tom Jones, and it's one of the best fucking soundtracks of anything.
Yeah, it really is Tom Jones, like
and
the Tom Jones.
And you're like, why does the fucking Duck Dodgers theme song go so fucking hard? Why is it so goddamn good?
It's like the Teen Titans theme song that went super fucking hard for no reason.
That's that's another one that nobody remembers. That was such a famous song. The two singers got their own show. That's Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi.
I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad shows,
it's also I don't remember anything.
Do you want a Teen Titans Easter egg that you may or may not already know?
Maybe.
If it's like a really deep, lore-heavy, like emotional episode, they have the Japanese theme song. If it's like a regular, like Fun Times episode, it's the American theme song.
Interesting.
So depending on what language they're speaking when they sing,
that's like
you can tell whether it's going to be like a really hard episode or a softer one.
That's like in Clone Wars, right at the end. They start going into like mall episodes.
Yeah.
And the logo is red instead of the normal like blue or yellow.
Oh,
thing.
neat.
The logo is always yellow. If it's a Droids episode, the logo is blue. If it's a mall episode, it's red.
And if it's a Qui-Gon episode, it's dead.
I think he does show up in it though. I don't know if he's Liam Neeson, but he does show up in it.
It's definitely not Liam Neeson.
I don't know.
Obi-Wan is not Ewan McGregor.
That's true, but
if they couldn't get Ewan McGregor to come back, they did not get Liam Neeson.
Well, I mean, they didn't get Ewan McGregor back because they hired voice actors.
Liam Neeson famously is one of the Star Wars people that does not want anything to do with Star Wars post Star Wars. He's up there with like Harrison Ford and John Boyega of like I'm done. That was fun. Goodbye. Like that's it. Wash my hands of it.
You know who does come back to everything? Surprisingly, after how they treated him, Ahmad Best. Ahmad Best is Jar Jar in everything.
Yep. Man knows what he likes. He just keeps fucking nailing it.
I do like Ahmad Best. Ahmad Best alone. Not a Jar Jar guy. Ahmad Best has won me over.
Yeah. Also,
and also I've never sent him fucking death threats because like a psychopath.
Whenever Star Wars wants to, I've noticed like whenever the company wants to drum up some goodwill with the fans, they'll roll out Anthony Daniels and Mark Hamill, and I'm just like, you guys are assholes, but I do love 3PO and Luke Skywalker. God damn it! And he always wears that fucking gold tuxedo because he is 3PO. Anyway.
Also, it's why... Sorry, not to...
We're talking about things that aren't Megalopolis, but sure, go ahead.
We've sort of finished Megalopolis, I feel like. But Anthony Daniels, it's so funny because if you look through his IMDb page, it's like just 900 things and 870 of them are C-3PO. Yeah. Like, it's so funny how he was like, I played this funny robot, and that's my career now. And that's what I'm doing. You played a funny robot in one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. Yes. And he's probably the most reoccurring character in any Star Wars thing.
Yes. I believe he was tied with R2, but then at some point they started doing things separate from each other, because before 3PO and R2 were always together.
Well, also, you, for, like, animated stuff, you don't need, whatchamacallit, who's R2. Also, he's dead.
Kenny Baker.
Yeah, you don't need to have him be him in the Clone Wars show because it's beeps and boops.
Yeah. All right, that does it for Megalopolis and apparently Clone Wars.
A little bit of Samurai Jack, Teen Titans, yeah.
Yeah. Troy, that's it, right? We are done?
Do we do a letter grade
we can.
or a
what
number
do you think?
grade?
You want to do a letter or a number? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling letter for some reason.
Let's go letters then.
And I don't want to give it an F.
No, it's not an F. It's certainly a. It's a D+. It's bored. I will never watch this movie again.
100%.
I'm not saying it's unwatchable, but I am saying it's not very enjoyable.
I'm gonna go a D-, which is one above F, because I like the fact that this isn't Madam Web, where Madam Web is nobody wanted to make the movie. And Sony went, guys, we have this property, fucking make the thing. And then somebody finally went, fine, I'll make the movie. And then it happened. And then it was like, oh, and it was bad. And it's like, nobody wanted to make it, and it's bad. This is at least...
But they set up that sequel.
Ah, okay. Well,
with all the girls.
We'll get back to that when we review Madam Web 2, which is coming to theaters eventually, I
Did
imagine.
that get greenlit?
No, and it never... it won't. But, I don't like a scene in the movie. I don't like a line in the movie. And it ends, and I was annoyed by it. And that's about it. So I'm like, it should be an F, but I guess just by it being kind of artsy, I move it one slot up. That's how far you get.
Okay.
That's it. That's all we got.
We're not going to hammer it over your head like this fucking movie. Hey, you remember when Shia LaBeouf's character climbed on top of a tree stump to deliver a speech and the stump was shaped like a fucking swastika?
Yeah.
God damn it. Just...
I get it because he's bad. He also has a friend who
all the subtlety of a big red brick.
Well, his friend also had the tattoo of the black sun on his forehead, so that was...
Yep.
So that's how you know he's bad, too.
Dog whistly.
Yeah.
That was it for this episode of the TB&J podcast.
It's more of just a whistle. It wasn't really for the dogs.
We are back to doing regularly scheduled programming-ish. We will be back at you every week with something. This week we had Megalopolis. Next week on Tuesday, you can expect to hear us talk about The Penguin on HBO Max. I believe it's called HBO Max. It might just be called Max.
It's just Max. Which sucks because I have a brother named Max, and I was literally talking to somebody the other day, and they thought that I was talking about my brother for like a solid minute.
Yeah.
That's why the name is bad. Change it as Love.
And then on Thursday, Joker Folie à Deux comes out with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga.
Yeah, Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Yeah.
It's the only way I say that now, and I
Lady
haven't even seen Harley Quinn. I just know that scene, and I think it's very funny. That's it.
Hilarious. And then after that, we've probably got more stuff coming at you. But, stick around. Listen. Do stuff.
But seriously, watch Galador. It's spelled Galador.